Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one lined up for you this morning. Flare Networks breaking news. The options in the governance voting rights for option 2 and option 1 are off the table. We're going to break that down. Canada should start issuing a CBDC, experts say. How about that one? And we're going to hear from the SEC, at least Hester Peirce for sure. And how about this one? XRP linked to the European Union banks and the recent trials for CBDCs. Let's go ahead and roll that beautiful intro. Here we go.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove, and everything that we're talking about here today. A lot of money has left the market since yesterday. We've gone from over 1.6 trillion to now 1.5. I don't think it's hard to see why the market is falling off and rolling over to those lower support levels that we've talked about keeping an eye on. We're looking right now, Bitcoin at $35,833.58. Some would say a bargain at those prices. Ethereum now at $2,242.15, and coming down here, Cardano at $1.43, and XRP at the number 7 spot, courtesy of the dereliction of duty and intimidation tactics. We are at 79 cents this morning, off by more than 4.76% on the 24-hour and 3.29% on the 7-day. We will keep an eye on the range right now, looking between 70 cents or 77 cents on the low end and 83 cents on the top side of the range. We got to keep an eye on this because I tell you, for me, I will be watching this today, because if this goes down near 70, and I did a little teeny buy yesterday just to touch it, but then I'm also thinking, okay, as the weekend goes on, I might see the price roll over to some of these lower support levels, 70, 65 cent range. Who knows? But I'm saving a little something in case it gets closer to 70 cents. If it gets under 75 cents, I might buy what's left. So not financial advice, just telling you what I'm looking at here. So let's take a look at this. This is Hugo Filion right here from Flare Networks. And shout out to Hugo. I know that this has just been a mess. And more importantly, there's been, a couple people out here that have refused to have a conversation about it, and I'm not speaking of you, Hugo. But the idea is to just have an open conversation here. Hugo tried to give us an option and put forth an option for us to have different options to vote on about how to receive the Spark token. Well, I think because it caused a lot of confliction against the IOU market that's currently out here for Spark tokens, I think he had to wheel that back. But let's listen to what Hugo had to say here. He says, I made a mistake invoking governance over the distribution. I'm canceling the proposals. The distribution will remain 15% on the initial drop and then 3% per month thereafter until you receive the rest of the 85%, which would make you whole. If tax creates sell pressure, then a governance proposal can be submitted by the community to curtail the distribution. People who are concerned about tax will be able to opt out at 3% monthly distributions. Make sure you are aware of your responsibilities to pay tax in each of your countries. First of all, shout out to you, Hugo. I know that this is not an easy thing, this conversation. It's always been about taxes. This has never been about whether I believe in Flare Networks. I think Flare Networks and Flare Finance is going to be amazing. I always have, and I still do. I appreciate Hugo wanting to give the power to the people and then realizing this late in the game, it doesn't suit, or at least the options that were created don't suit. And I understand that because you got the IOU market. Some people were planning on the 15% and then the 3% thereafter. A couple things to think about very quickly before we move on here is this simply. Talking about the tax implications, one of the things I've always worried about, I received the 15%. I'm going to create an arbitrary scenario with arbitrary numbers here. Okay, so let's say that you receive 15,000 tokens, you get it at zero value. That's zero value. Then let's say, or it doesn't even matter what you received. You received your first 15%, let's just say that, and it doesn't matter the amount. You received the first 15%, no tax. The 3% thereafter, let's say that ends up being a taxable event, because I believe that it will. Okay, or at least that's how I believe the IRS may see it. That's been my concern all along. Okay, so let's say that, Spark token goes to $10 for a simple number, right? So it goes to $10. You received a 3%. You're going to need to sell some of that to meet the tax obligation, right? And what happens is if there's a lot of downward sell pressure, let's say that a lot of downward sell pressure where everybody's selling the token to cover taxes, ends up creating a situation where the price goes from $10 down to $6 or $5, but you're still going to be taxed at $10. Now you got to sell twice as many to meet the tax obligation, or more than you had intended is really the way to see it. So those are the scenarios I've been rolling with and wanting to try to resolve for myself and my own investments. So I appreciate it, Hugo. I know that you put your best foot forward here, or at least I certainly hope that you had in the team too, because it was suggested that scarcity of option 2 would create scarcity and it wouldn't work. And then I have to ask myself, did you submit something as an option that doesn't work? Or is it a situation where you had to take it off of the table because of the obligation of the people in the IOU market? I don't know the answer to it. But what I do know is being forward thinking and getting past that point is this. Rob Licker said, my thoughts are, why not 100% upfront at inception, which establishes constructive ownership and zero tax basis? HODL gives you every incentive you need, 1+ year lower taxes forever, and it's zero taxes. There you go. Participate in the network and live of the and live off the passive income. Never touch your principal. Yes, yes, yes. This will be great. And what I would suggest here is that, because actually overnight while I was listening to all of these things and thinking about the option, I was like, why can't option 2 just be 100%? Right? Why can't one of the options be to receive 100% of the tokens? I don't see why that's so harmful. It certainly worked in other airdrops. So with that being said, I still think we should keep an open mind about that, Hugo. And honestly, you could still give the power to the people. That is what a decentralized platform is intended to be. And I certainly think that would honor and respect anybody in the IOU market, so it's something to consider. And what I hope from here is that we'll hear less of, other people telling us that we have to shut up and stop talking about it and really have a grown-up conversation like adults about how it's going to affect our portfolio. And I think this scenario right here from Rob Licker could be just the answer. So I hope we keep an open mind as we continue to move through this. All right, now, looking at other news here, Goldman Sachs is the first U.S. bank to trade Bitcoin futures. Now, how about them apples? The same Goldman Sachs that said crypto ain't money and this stuff is nothing but illegal activity and all of this business, that's what's called talking your book. And you can bet your bottom dollar that Goldman Sachs has been acquiring the entire time that they were saying it was a no good asset. Right? So this is what we're talking about. And look, it goes beyond, this is all going to build beyond just Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the brand awareness. And now they're getting here where they are the first U.S. bank to trade Bitcoin futures. This is going to continue to grow. I just believe we're going to see some kind of regulation that is going to harness proof of work assets like Bitcoin going forward. What the tax implication on that will be, yet to be determined. But I do believe we'll see some kind of carbon footprint tax if they don't bring Bitcoin to renewable, sustainable energy at some point. Fingers crossed, we'll see what goes on. Fingers crossed, we'll see what goes on there. Coffee's got me hiccuping this morning. Cryptocurrency central banks in the Caribbean here. And we remember that we know the Bahamian CBDC has been launched already. It doesn't get a lot of attention because it was down in the Bahamas, right? But what we do know that made a lot of big news is El Salvador decided to call Bitcoin legal tender. Well, it doesn't stop there. We know the World Bank has pushed back on them about that because they've lent El Salvador money and they feel like this further hurts the spreads on the actual money they're supposed to pay back in El Salvadorian dollars. I think you get the rest of that. Paraguay welcomes Bitcoin new legislation and will be introduced in July. They are going step in step right behind El Salvador. I think this conversation is going to heighten with the governments and the larger economies around the world about what they're going to do about Bitcoin. One thing I would like to suggest is go ahead and make it legal tender. Just put XRP as a neutral bridge asset in between it, so none of it matters. Looking here, this is breaking news coming out of Canada from Jamie Nix right here. Shout out to you, Jamie. It says Bank of Canada should start issuing digital currency, expert says. And you can watch this. I'm not sure if this is a copyrighted clip because this is global news. I've never played it before. I'd love to play it for you, but it just talks about here and says that experts are saying, in fact, and encouraging Canada to start issuing their central bank digital currency. Things are happening faster than the price action, that's for sure. And that's good news because ultimately the fundamentals are going to help support the market and the technical analysis that will come. So that's why I wait and accumulate, right? All right, here we see another piece of good news here from Wrath of Conman. If you're not following Wrath of Conman, I would. Wow, building a DEX app for Zum. I think it's Zum. I always say this wrong, but Zum, the XRP Ledger DEX has suffered for want of an easy interface. Things like this help bring liquidity as it opens up for more people. Well said, Wrath of Conman. This is absolutely right. You're bringing the ease of use to the app and to the access of the XRP Ledger. This is going to really help inspire liquidity and demand for the use of this app, no doubt about it. We see here from DJ Peter Vass, China will knock out the U.S. in the race for crypto adoption, Coinbase co-founder asserts. This is Fred Ursum, who says this, co-founder of Coinbase, and essentially points to all the things that we know, that China and the digital yuan have been far ahead and leading in the launch and the application of, and the implementation, I should say, of the central bank digital currency, the digital yuan. And that is what he was citing. And, you know, what I would offer is this. There's a reason that the rest of the world hasn't jumped off 100% in crypto and central bank digital dollars. You know what I think it is? I'm going to share it with you right now. It's because the U.S. is the last country with the biggest economy to really reel it all out. And if they were already ready, this market would be going nuts. That's my personal opinion and perspective on the situation. And just like we look at XRP and understand that all the customers around the world for XRP don't have any confusion the way the SEC does in the United States about what XRP is. It is currency to them. So at the end of the day, or at least at the very least, a convertible virtual currency, right? So at the end of the day, it seems like it signals to me that it is a global effort that the United States is last off the line, but it isn't because they haven't been doing the work. That is the key thing to focus on there. So speaking of that, let's take a look at this. This is Hester Peirce here, the SEC to provide clarity on token distribution, crypto-based exchange-traded products, ETPs. Hester Peirce, many industry observers expect the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission to tighten its regulatory grip over cryptocurrencies. Taking a look at this article, I just want to give you this portion right here. Speaking of token safe harbor, for which Hester Peirce has put together, and safe harbor is really like a 3-year window where your project or whatever can work without the fear of being squashed by a market regulator like the SEC until you determine whether your project has become decentralized or an ICO or whatever these things are. Like, and actually as an ICO, you would know that right out of the gate. But you get the idea. It gives this window of safe harbor to develop the project and hopefully get it to that stage where after that 3-year safe harbor, you would be able to determine exactly what it is. Is it decentralized, right? Is it a security? What is this thing? So speaking of safe harbor, the regulator was making a reference to her initiative from last April, the release of an updated version of the token safe harbor proposal, which aims to enable crypto businesses to offer tokens under initial coin offerings in compliance with the SEC's rules. And then we need to provide some clarity on custody and regulated entities. So, for broker-dealers and investment advisors, she stated. Well, there it is. She just told you that the people that are selling you stuff like from Fidelity are about to get into this business. And that, to me, has been a huge part of what this is about. And that's why I've been saying for a long time, I feel like some kind of shape, way, or form between Congress and some legislation, the SEC, and possibly a new proposal or issuance of framework, we could see a good portion of this digital asset space be deemed as digital asset securities and tucked right into the already framework of the broker-dealer framework of how you go get stocks and things like that right now. And this would just become a whole new list of products that would be available from the broker-dealer side, which has all the regulatory framework and compliance and everything built right into that infrastructure and framework. So we'll see how this goes, but maybe they end up offering security products off the tokens themselves. Let me read a little further here. So, referring to the approach adopted by Gary Gensler's SEC chairman appointed to his office last April, Peirce said that he's been quite outspoken already about wanting to have some oversight over the spot markets, whether it's the SEC or another federal regulatory agency. More regulatory clarity could also enter the SEC's longstanding row with blockchain company Ripple over the regulator's claim that the Ripple-affiliated XRP coins is an unregistered security, according to the commissioner. Now listen to this. It's something I've also, again, tried us to be a little more precise, Peirce said. When we think about crypto assets as being a security, what we're doing is we're saying it's being sold as a part of an investment contract, but it doesn't mean that the asset itself is necessarily has to be a security. It means that it was being sold as a security. Come on in. I've been talking about this, that, we know the early days with R3 and Ripple, that R3 had an option contract. They went to court, they sued each other, undisclosed the details of the settlement. However, we learned from that early event that R3 had an option contract for XRP. Well, you know what that option contract constitutes? Being a security. That's what it constitutes. An option contract is a security. Now, you could have had that security contract as an option, right? That was set up for gold, which is a commodity. But you had an option contract, which is a security on that gold. Just like you could have a securities contract, which is an option contract, on top of something like this asset XRP, which she is clearly expressing here does not mean that XRP has to be a security either. And that really is what this case is about. And that's why Ripple asked in the prayer for relief for the judge to go a step further than deal with whether the contracts between their customers and Ripple were securities, because that's what they were claiming. And I think that part of it may be accurate, if in fact they were option contracts or something thereof, right? But the reality here for me is that, that's why Ripple asked for the prayer for relief. I think it was the second point in the prayer for relief, for the judge to go further and to declare that XRP was in fact a currency and not a security. We'll see if the judge goes that far, but I don't know if the judge will. What we do know is that Washington is recommitted to innovation in cryptocurrencies, and it needs a congressional fix, and I believe so too. And guess who else does? Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler has called on Congress, and I believe this is why he is sitting back at this point. And it looks like he's kind of in the shadows, not out front too much, other than to say the general fluff, which is, and it's not fluff, but make the general points, I should say, about consumer protection over exchanges, and starting with there. That's been his vocal narrative since he's been in the SEC here. And I get it. And I think that all speaks to what we heard just a second ago when we talked about, Hester Peirce talked about, getting these things in a place where broker dealers and investment advisors can offer these products, right? And that to me spells something for exchanges that they got coming. For if these things were to be deemed some form of a security, generally speaking, the majority of the market, then who out here is a crypto exchange that has security license that can continue to offer these products? Yeah. And with that, we move on. And looking right here, it says SHIB coin price jump and then STTN ICO in July. EU banks linked to XRP. What? I said, let me get down into this. Going back down to this part because I didn't really care to follow the other two sections. But coming to this really quickly here, less than a year ago, XRP token was 17 cents. How about that for a number? Right? At 79 cents today, 1 year later. It rose to nearly triple the price, and then the United States SEC banned it. Citizens of America could no longer trade the token, or even Binance had to make a separate site for the U.S. Let's just skip down here for a second. I think we all know this information, but I wanted to say, while the United States SEC is still trying to mount a case against Ripple Labs, the maker of XRP token, it may come to a halt soon. It's being suggested by lawyers that the SEC did not report vital information that could result in the case being tossed out. Beyond that, it is also now being rumored that the Central European banks of Switzerland and France are using same blockchain technology as XRP. The Ripple Ledger is supposedly the foundation of central bank digital currencies of the two EU countries. It is essential for the central banks to stay on top of the technological developments. The Swiss National Bank is already investigating the settlement of tokenized assets with wholesale CBDCs as a part of Project Helvetia. And it says here, a representative of governing board of Swiss National Bank. All of this new merged into one would seem it means XRP has a high chance of rebounding big time. It could be the mainstream cryptocurrency to watch as early as 2022. What do you think about that? And then I said, oh, okay, well, let's go into this because this was from back in 2021. Well, June. What is this? Yeah, so 8/3/2021. So it says here, Bank of France likely to prefer XRP over Bitcoin and Ethereum. Really? Banque de France and Central Bank de France has reportedly discussed XRP and Ripple for the launch of central bank digital currency. Central Bank is planning to prefer XRP over Bitcoin and Ethereum. According to a report published by CPA Australia, which we covered here on the channel when it came out, Ripple and XRP gained the attention of many central banks around the world due to its efficient network. In addition, the report highlighted the efforts made by Reserve Bank of Australia, European Central Bank, ECB, and the People Bank of China, I believe that is, PBOC, and the Federal Reserve in the issuance of a central bank digital currency. Ripple recently announced that the company is currently testing a private ledger of the XRP ledger to facilitate global central banks in the issuance of management of CBDCs. Further, the company mentioned that the arrival of the world's first CBDC is inevitable. There you have it. Yeah, and it says here, Ripple and XRP enjoy the trust of many banks as a model for CBDCs. Ripple also allows the creation of new currencies, and Ripple developers can decide the timing and quantity of supply in a similar way to current central bank operations. The report from CPA Australia states, France's central bank, Banque de France, has openly discussed Ripple XRP as a possible platform, the European central digital currency. There you have it. And a reminder right here that they are, in fact, piloting private ledger for central banks to launch their CBDCs. This is what I'm waiting for. And everything else is fun to talk about until this really starts happening. And I'm not going anywhere until it does. I'm here for 4 and 5 digit XRP, and I believe the last three things that we just looked at are exactly what can be the catalyst to take it there. Not financial advice, but that's my thoughts on this day. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and share with somebody you know. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. We have a page on Facebook now, and if it'll load, I'll show it to you. So make sure you follow us there. There's going to be a lot of exclusive content there. There's already hundreds and hundreds of videos. I think it's like 600 videos now on the library. Make sure you follow us there and the content for everything you want to find out. And also want to tell you too, I'd be remiss if you didn't take a look at the links in the description box and the comment section. You could earn $3 promo credit for every dollar spent on your domains on Unstoppable Domains, and they've opened up the domains to .coin, .wallet, .bitcoin, .x, .nft, .dao, and .blockchain. It just keeps getting bigger, folks. I'll catch all of you on the next one.